Welcome to the program overview for cooperating teachers for Illinois State University's Department of Special Education field-based program. First, we will go over our field-based program overview. The field-based program is offered the semester prior to student teaching and affords the teacher candidate the opportunity to blend theory with practical application. The field-based program is comprised of two major components: clinical experiences and instructional modules. Reflective teaching practices are a strong component of both the instructional modules and clinical experiences. The clinical setting provides an opportunity for the teacher candidate to experience the comprehensive roles and responsibilities of a special education teacher. Observation of effective teaching models and diverse student populations are important. Instructional modules meet 1 day per week in a hybrid format and are designed to provide the theoretical and practical knowledge base necessary for the teacher candidate to become a competent professional. The weekly module sessions are conducted for the duration of the semester and are taught by Illinois State University faculty and selected experts in the special education field. In addition to extending the previously learned theoretical base obtained from coursework completed on campus, the modules provide a forum for each teacher candidate to share the rich experiences unfolding at his or her site. The reporting of authentic clinical experiences provides the teacher candidate with practice in analysis, synthesis, and evaluation of theory and best practices, and subsequently enhances the field-based learning outcomes. Essential applications. The teacher candidate evidences these standards through his or her daily performance in the clinical setting, active participation in instructional activities during weekly module sessions, and the successful completion of these essential application activities. The essential application activities are designed to mirror the curricular, instructional, and legal mandates to which special education teachers are accountable. The teacher candidate is required to design, implement, and assess the following essential application activities in the clinical setting: the evidence-based practice, the unit plan, and the IEP project. The cooperating teacher. The teacher candidate reports to the assigned clinical site 4 days per week to gain practical experience and to complete standards-based activities under the daily mentorship of the cooperating teacher. Resources. Teacher candidates integrate all previous knowledge and skills in applied settings, practicing the role of a special educator to the full extent possible with the mentorship of the cooperating teacher, university supervisor, and field-based coordinator. A university supervisor works collaboratively with the cooperating teacher to facilitate the design of the teacher candidate's experiences and to discuss the teacher candidate's progress and performance. The university supervisor gathers authentic assessment data regarding the teacher candidate's performance by conducting scheduled observations virtually. The clinical setting provides the following learning opportunities for the teacher candidate. Mentor. As a mentor, the cooperating teacher plays a critical role in modeling evidence-based best practices and providing the appropriate level of support for the teacher candidate to advance independence. Collaboration is at the core of the cooperating teacher's responsibilities. The cooperating teacher is asked to maintain an ongoing objective assessment of the teacher candidate's performance and to communicate the performance data to the teacher candidate and the university supervisor. In this case, this is the first semester that our candidates will be entering a classroom and working with a cooperating teacher, as they completed e-tutoring experiences one-on-one with students last semester, and some of them may not even have had IEPs. So this collaboration and mentorship is going to be extremely important this semester. Feedback and coaching. The cooperating teacher is requested to complete the weekly reflection form at the end of each week for the 16-week placement. As stated before, the candidates have not had any classroom experience prior to this semester, so we will be building their foundation of knowledge and skills in the instructional planning area for the first 6 weeks of the semester in module. Candidates will not take over their first content area until the 6-week mark. So the weekly reflection from the cooperating teacher will begin at week 5 when the candidates begin co-implementing and co-teaching their first content area. The teacher candidate is expected to review the cooperating teacher's comments and reflect on his or her own professional growth over the past week. Subsequently, the teacher candidate will complete the bottom portion of the form, demonstrating thoughtful, reflective analysis of his or her performance. There's also the evaluation in terms of the midterm and final. Feedback from the cooperating teacher is valued and is considered when determining the final grade. The standards-based competencies align with the Charlotte-Danielson framework and are the primary tool for teacher evaluation in public schools. As such, teacher candidates are expected to evidence beginning teacher readiness skills commensurate with the 4 domains provided in the Danielson framework. Philosophically, module and clinical practice are viewed as gestalt, an integrated whole rather than 2 separate experiences running concurrently. Informal feedback can also be given to the candidate. Sometimes this is in the form of setting up a weekly meeting to just go over and discuss lesson plan, instructional plans and data, or this may be given on the fly at the end of a lesson. Now we're going to move into theory to practice, the clinical experience. This slide covers the level of independence. As a standards-based program, the teacher candidate is expected to independently evidence the knowledge, performance, and disposition standards by the conclusion of the field-based program. At the end of the semester, a determination is made regarding the teacher candidate's overall performance and preparedness for advancing to student teaching. As the teacher candidate assumes additional planning, teaching, and assessment responsibilities, it is expected that the candidate will evidence increased independence with developing and accessing resources beyond collaboration and/or solely accessing materials and resources from the cooperating teacher, university supervisor, and/or program coordinator. The assumption of teaching responsibilities. At first, when your candidates come in, they are going to be observing, and as stated earlier, they are going to have a little bit longer of an observation time than in the past. They will be observing you for the first 4 weeks of their placement. In that 5th week, they are going to co-plan and co-teach the first content area that you have mutually decided upon them taking over. They're going to take this over in a gradual responsibility. So direct instruction of limited components of the curriculum to diverse student populations with an emphasis on authentic data collection and differentiated instruction, and giving them some reflective teaching opportunities during that co-plan and co-teach week. Then they will independently plan and teach. Initially, the teacher candidate will plan and teach 1 content area and then advance to concurrent planning and teaching for 2 content areas as determined by the cooperating teacher and university supervisor. By the end of the clinical placement, the teacher candidate will have assumed at least 2 concurrent content areas in preparation for the student teaching experience. Any modifications to this requirement rest with the university supervisor. You will see on the right-hand side the cognition of teaching model. This is a development and understanding of the professional cognition of teaching model. It provides the foundation for our field-based program. While in previous semesters, teacher candidates gain knowledge of theory and practice while applying professional disposition standards, the current semester advances the development of independent critical thinking and decision-making regarding best practice while consistently evidencing a professional disposition. The clinical experience. Lesson plans. The teacher candidate will design, implement, and assess instructional plans for 2 content areas or instructional groups by the end of the semester. The process and content of the instructional plans will follow the guidelines established by Illinois State University and will include the relationship to the learner's IEPs, new Illinois learning standards, and the district or classroom curriculum. The teacher candidate will evaluate an appropriate continuum of instruction and maintain data regarding the learner's progress towards the goals and objectives outlined on his or her IEP. Each educational site may mandate different service delivery models, resulting in different planning needs, modifications, and/or adaptations to the required expectations may be necessary. The university supervisor may approve modifications and adaptations following collaboration with the cooperating teacher. The teacher candidate will select and submit to the university supervisor a total of 4 instructional plans. Ongoing planning. The teacher candidate is expected to plan at least 2 plans in advance for each lesson and submit these plans according to this timeline to the cooperating teacher for review and feedback. We ask that you initial and date the electronic sheet provided by the candidates as a way to document the candidates were planned in advance. Given that learner performance may alter the advanced planning, the teacher candidate is to review each subsequent plan for its appropriateness and make the necessary adjustments prior to teaching. Evidence of adjustments to future instructional plans will be dated and noted directly on the future plan page within their electronic binder. Please note, a teacher candidate is not permitted to teach if instructional plans are not developed and submitted to the cooperating teacher according to the university timelines, and or if the daily student performance data is not analyzed and used to inform future instructional planning. Analysis of learner performance data will drive the development of differentiated instructional plans and subsequently the selection of evidence-based teaching methods and assessments. Reflective teaching practices will advance the planning process to ensure appropriate research-based strategies are employed to accommodate the individual needs of each learner. The teacher candidate will use the cognition of teaching model to differentiate instruction and evidence best practice. In doing so, the teacher candidate will be demonstrating knowledge, performance, and disposition standards. During the clinical experience, there are also non-teaching responsibilities. These can include interaction with students in structured and unstructured settings and documentation of student performance within these diverse settings. At a minimum, teacher candidates should evidence active engagement, so they should be completely engaged in the learning environment. They are not to work on their ISU responsibilities unless it is during planning time and all other responsibilities have been met. This can also include grading and records and professional meetings. The teacher candidate will attend professional meetings such as team, department, or faculty meetings. Additionally, IEP staffings and parent-teacher conferences are to be attended whenever possible to experience the full scope of responsibilities that are assumed by an educator. Information gleaned from these professional engagements will be incorporated into the teacher candidate's weekly reflections and professional behaviors. As appropriate, the information will be embedded into daily practice. First, we will talk about the evidence-based practice. The candidate will choose a focus learner in your classroom and will complete a riot ISIL. They will review, interview, observe, and test, and they will think about what they know about their learner in terms of instruction, curriculum, environment, and learner. They will decide if they're going to do an academic or a behavioral intervention, and they're going to connect to an IEP goal if this is appropriate. Once they select an evidence-based practice, they will implement the intervention for about 5 weeks for a minimum of 10 data points across the 5 weeks. They will focus then on analysis of data and next steps, and they will complete IEP paperwork in terms of updating the goal on a report of progress page and also completing a goal page. The next essential application is the unit plan. Candidates will implement a unit of instruction that lasts for a recommended length of 7 to 10 lessons depending on context and content. The unit will require backwards design where candidates will identify learners and standards, specify learning outcomes, develop an assessment and instruction plan, and evidence planning the learning environment and differentiation. Candidates will implement instruction and conclude the plan with a final reflective essay focusing on inquiry into student learning and their teaching performance. The final essential application is the IEP case study. The purpose of the application is for the teacher candidate to demonstrate the ability to work on a team to develop an IEP for a student provided by a case study. Teacher candidates will develop pieces of the IEP in draft format that could be done before an IEP meeting, and then work together to complete pieces of an IEP that would be done collaboratively at a meeting during module. Thank you for listening to our presentation. We are so grateful for your partnership. Should you have any questions, please contact us at the information below, and please follow us on social media. Thank you again.